Well, hey, weirdos, it's me, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And
Where
Jake.
were you? We literally just started.
It's just
We
looking
were
for
like,
my
ready,
notes
let's
on
go.
my phone. Yeah, I suck.
Well,
Sorry.
I can officially say that this episode... Ooh, maybe my gain's up too high. Oh, we're so professional.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I can officially say that this episode is brought to you by Lisa, our very first and only Patreon.
Oh, hey, Lisa. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Lisa. That's pretty exciting news. Now we don't expect you
Did
to
she seriously
continue.
become a Patreon?
Yeah. We've
Lisa,
got a
what's
Patreon,
wrong with
man.
you?
Well, I was going to say at the beginning, like, hey, thank you, but there's absolutely no expectation that you continue.
But you know what we should do? If she continues for like a couple of weeks, then we should get, or a couple of months. It's like once a month or whatever. We should send her a new T-shirt.
Well, a new T-shirt, and maybe I was thinking, hey, Lisa, it's me, Dan. Maybe I was thinking we could also send her some of our older episodes just privately, because it's way too embarrassing to actually have any of that stuff for public consumption. But maybe for some of our Patreon, we can send some of our older content from the Knife's Edge.
Yeah, that's a
So-
good idea. You know, it'd be funny. I'd like to find that episode where we talked about the teenagers trying to have sex in the salt mine with Dad.
I don't think that we did talk about that.
Just what would happen to your genitals if you tried to do it in a salt mine.
Well, I mean, it is a desiccant.
Yeah, exactly.
And that word is ingrained in my memory because the time that
That's
I
right.
used that lip chap, it was
Chapstick.
chapstick. What I don't know. Yeah, chapstick.
Lip chat.
I've called it lip chap also for the entirety of my life.
I know.
So,
I know.
okay, so the time I used that chapstick, that was sea salt and caramel flavored, and you were like, "How is that going to help?"
How does rubbing salt on your lips help?
That's a desiccant. And then for 3 years, I was like, "Oh, what did Jake say that word was?" So, we found out on the show. Also, you're going to hear a lot of this.
Yeah. What's that?
I cleaned out the drawers of my bedside table. I found hundreds of dollars of change.
Oh, nice.
But I also found all of my rings from when I was on OxyContin.
Oh, the ones you made yourself?
Made myself, bought online, made of tungsten, made of steel, made of silver.
Fentanyl.
I wasn't on fentanyl, I don't think.
Oh, the OxyContin whole.
OxyContin, I don't even know what that drug is, apart from wonderful. But but not advised because it's a real bitch to get off. I think. So I've heard.
I still haven't tried. I wrote a book. I think we talked about it on the last podcast.
Oh, yeah, I think we did too, yeah.
Entrepreneurs. Anyway, one of the characters is a drug addict. That they try to get a grant for professionals who are recovered opioid addicts. And to do that, they get him addicted to heroin, but then he decides he doesn't want to get unaddicted to it, so he just becomes a lifelong junkie.
Well, yeah. How would that... Yeah, that's tricky. Because I'm sure that actually exists. Like, they would absolutely have to do clinical trials on these drugs. And then people would just, like, go back
Yeah,
to the
once you
streets to find them.
do the 180 to become like a smackhead, it's very rare to do the second 180 to go back and become an accountant again. Or
Yeah. But I mean, those people that
orthodontist.
do are fucking driven. You want your accountant and your lawyer to be an ex-heroin junkie, because those people would have to be the most driven people in the world unless they're not really off the drugs. But if they are truly off the drugs, those people are committed. They
Although
are
I'll tell you,
dedicated.
do you know what the most addictive drug in the world is?
What?
Nicotine. It's harder to
Yeah.
quit smoking than it is to quit heroin.
Well, heroin, yes, but like I've smoked never in my life.
Timely.
I've never like habitually smoked cigarettes, but in high school you've taken a drag off of a cigarette or whatever. They say, now this might just be like government propaganda, that if you try ice even just one time, you become addicted to that. So ice has got to be more addictive than nicotine.
It's got to be
I'm
really
not smoking. I can't imagine. Like, I am so highly strung, anxious, and paranoid just running on my own rather lazy energy.
Your natural chemical imbalances.
Yeah, I could not imagine. I just couldn't even. Why would anyone want to be more awake and more aware of the fucking bullshit that is going around right now?
The world has gone. I mean, it's gone full. Look, Black Lives Matter. I'm going to preface this with.
Look, I wanted to.
I'm good.
I wanted to keep the podcast light, but I did want to sort of mention that you and I have no understanding about what the Black community is going through. And
I don't think that's entirely true, because we see them as, I have patients who are Black and stuff too, right?
No. I know, but like the everyday sort of oppression and stereotypes that go with just having a different color of your skin. That's something
right.
that you are not going to ever experience that. I definitely will never experience that. Justin Trudeau experienced it for Halloween one year.
3 or 4 times.
But
let me just tell you, okay, I don't have the answers, but I know something that isn't the answer. And that is, if you're a fairly privileged person, the answer is not to go on social media and tell everyone how virtuous you are by
I think
Blackout Tuesday or whatever. Fuck off. Fuck off.
I think it's absolutely important that the Black community and any race feels that they have allies in the outer community. So
you have to come up with practical solutions, but it can't turn into anarchy. Otherwise, the movement just gets swallowed up in a whole new conversation that doesn't fix anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think things, in a way, now I'm in Canada, you're in Australia, so I think in a way things have gotten a little bit better here since police training required like a college degree. The police are well paid here, generally speaking. They have a pension and stuff. In the States, like I was talking to a policeman in Florida, and he was making like, $21,000 a year. All his money was from moonlighting, and he had a high school education.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I suppose if the people who are drawn to that may be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah,
in terms of their like general demeanor.
Well, they're not as well screened, maybe.
Yeah, so that may be the difference. But I mean, it absolutely happens here in Australia as well. Like the Aboriginal people are targeted all the time, and it's it's awful. It's like I said, it's just something that I will never understand.
But you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater, I guess is what I'm getting at. You don't want to say, oh, society doesn't need policemen anymore. Or police
No.
people.
I think we just need to be educated and compassionate.
But that's just our take. Look, you're allowed to think whatever you want to think, and we're just joking when we make fun of the medical students and stuff. So don't think we're trying to. Yeah, we're kind of joking, but don't think our word is the be all and end all. We are,
or that we have
fairly
any fucking
fluid
clue at all.
and able to. We're able to sympathize.
We're able
to sympathize, is what I mean. But this is a comedy podcast, so we have to take.
Yeah, I'll probably cut out the majority of everything that we've said thus far.
Everything from the MLK reference forward.
But yeah, so anyway, that's the serious part of the podcast.
Hey, love, don't hate. That applies across the board. I don't fucking hate a lot of people, but not gender specific or race specific. I'm just not a people person.
Well, I do equally hate all people.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way we should be.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean,
Somebody just sent us a Facebook message, by the way.
not to me.
It's
It could
on
have
our
just been a
webpage.
personal message.
No,
It says you guys are live and you're both going to hell.
You can't say that. You can't say that. I don't believe in you can't say that. Also, I think you're allowed to say whatever you want to say, regardless of who you are. But
Well, actually, here in Australia, we don't have the right to free speech.
no, neither do we in Canada. But I think that's stupid. Yeah, there's.
There was that's a big old misconception that I've been living with when I tell people to go fuck themselves, and they're like, "You can't say that to me," and I'm like, "Oh, I thought I could. My bad."
I feel like I just did.
Yeah, I'm not getting any the old Facebook posts.
I don't know how to check the message. This is how about a very brief live podcast online tutorial about how to find your messages in your Facebook page.
Well, there is no way. There's just no way.
Well, I got somebody liked our podcast. It says Dan Garterio liked your podcast. Thanks, Dan.
Oh yeah. I'm friends with him.
Oh,
Yeah, they're good folk. They're good folk.
we've got
Yeah.
a variety of. Oh, there's Jack.
Oh,
He said shout out to
fuck! That was the fucking scariest thing I've ever heard.
Dan. Well, it is a spooky podcast.
Oh my gosh! Well, yesterday, let me tell you, I've been working from home. Back in the day, you said to me when I was on OxyContin for my back. I'll make that very clear. It was for a medical condition. But you said to me, Daniel, you have no concept of time. You have the same idea of time as your golden retriever. And
Yes, I did say that. Yeah, I remember that.
That could not be more true than what I've been experiencing. I have no concept of time. No, like, I don't know where the last week has gone.
Yeah,
it is bizarre. But I've been working from home, and you pick up on these little nuances, especially now that the kids are back at school, of what goes on at your house when otherwise you wouldn't be home. Well, I was sitting here at my desk, my windows were open, and I heard this giggle, like a and I was like, ooh, gross, like the neighbor's kids have got a creepy laugh. And then it happened again, and I was like, whoa, that's like really close. They must be just on the other side of the fence. So I went, I had a little look, and I was like, oh, is someone creeping in my my lawn? And then we've got this net that's like a volleyball net or a tennis net that we've put up for the kids when they were at home, and the giggle happened right outside my window, and it was loud, and it was like a kid's giggle, and I was like, oh, this is bad.
I don't like this.
I don't like it at all. I was getting like really freaked out. And then we've got a big bucket of water for the dogs to drink from, but also all these animals come to it as well. And I heard it again, and I looked out the window, and there was this bird that was out there. It was not like
Like a
may have been
kookaburra?
it may have been a magpie or something like that, but it like it was like a mockingbird. It was almost like it was repeating the sound of a kid's giggle that it had heard, and then it's just repeating that. It was like the fucking Hunger Games with a mockingjay. It was scary as fucking shit. I thought for sure there was some demon child. Maybe there's a demon inside the bird, but I was convinced that something was going to come and eat my soul.
That's really creepy.
Turns out it was a birdie that was thirsty and having a drink from the water bucket.
Turns out it was a beautiful songbird.
I killed it anyway.
I see the world differently. Did you know that Lord Audubon of the Audubon Society killed all the birds that he painted and named?
Well, I mean,
He shot them.
why? What? With
The guy who
what?
invented bird watching. He shot all the birds and then propped them up on a tree and painted them.
It's like, oi, how will we get a good image of this bird? I know.
Don't hold still.
Kill it. What a glorious animal. Bang. Oh, the magnificence of my paintings. Oh, did you catch what it sounded like? No, sir. You shot it first. I think it went something like tweedly, tweedly dee dee. Let's call it a tit.
The crested titmouse. Oh, fuck.
Sorry. I've been living inside my head for a little bit of time now.
I know we haven't. We haven't really had much of a chance to talk this last couple of weeks. I've been back to work. That's been great.
It's been a real joy. Top of the world.
I did a lot of gardening. I don't know if you knew. When I was off, Chrissy had me like working the gardens.
I've been doing motorcycle maintenance. I am now a motorcycle maintenance guy.
Hey, there you go. Can you do it all now on your own?
Well, I mean, I've given it a go. It might explode.
Is this your dirt bike?
Yeah, I'm not touching the Harley.
What did you maintain on it?
I've changed the oil in Elijah's,
Okay.
so the little TTR 50, and then I put a new screw onto my chain on my bike, the chain guide,
Okay.
and then I put new grips on Elijah's bike because they'd been torn to shreds because he's dropped it so many times.
It's not an easy job putting the grips on, taking them off. Did you use a heat gun?
No, I just used a knife.
Oh.
I went back on my old whittling skills that I learned when I was a child.
Now, when you were a child and you were whittling, you one time nearly cut your finger off.
Yeah, actually,
So
I've
I'm not
got
sure.
the scar, and in hindsight, they did a terrible job. I'm pretty sure that I cut directly into the joint of my pinky finger, and they were just like, "Yeah, it should be right," and sewed it back up with,
Sew it all together.
with like a continuous stitch.
They sewed the flap from the pinky to the flap from the ring finger on both sides. So now you just have one big fat finger with 2 nails on it.
I'm very, very speedy in the pool with me old left hand. But apart from that,
You always turn
very
in
detrimental
circles,
to life.
I was thinking the other day not the other day. I was thinking the other day about when Dad had his hand injury from the boat.
Same.
When we were high school age, I'd say Dad bought a power boat because he wanted us to experience life on a boat. But it was it was a fairly cheap power boat, and
the marathon.
and you couldn't.
Yeah.
He didn't want to pay for a mooring to keep the boat in the water all summer, so we had to take it in and out on the trailer every time.
It was humongous. In comparison to other speedboats that you would take in and out of the water.
It wasn't speedy; it was heavy.
It was a big boat, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was 20 feet or 19 feet, but it was big and heavy and had a full cabin in it.
Yeah, it wasn't like a bow rider where you could it was like 2 tons of plexiglass.
It was a lot of boat, a lot of fiberglass. Anyway, then one day, Dad was taking it out of the water, and to get it out,
putting it in.
No. This was taking it out. To take it out, I had to get in the back in order to get the bow to rise up so it would fit in the V of the trailer. And so he asked me to get in the back, and I was walking back to the back, and I slipped and sat my ass down kind of hard on the back bench on the boat. And he didn't realize I'd sat down really hard, and the bow came up. He assumed that was the permanent position, so he put his hand under it to guide it in, and then it slammed back down on his hand and degloved his finger.
Yeah,
so he made a fist, and all the meat from his finger was flapping down, and there was arterial blood squirting everywhere.
It was the fucking worst.
I was in the boat, and I saw him hobble up the road toward the Ritchie's house to call. To call 911.
100% going, cocksuck, motherfuck. Cocksuck, motherfuck.
He was so mad. And when they stitched him all back together, and then his hand swelled up like a balloon, and we didn't know if it was just from all the blood, But then it turned out that there was a bunch of rubber from the V of the trailer sewn inside his finger. So the doctor froze him up about a month later, and Dad said when they put the scalpel just against the skin, the whole finger split open like a sausage on the barbecue.
See, I remember it slightly
the
different.
rubber.
I remember it that we were putting the boat in, and we were all so gung-ho to go out on the boat because it was, we didn't go every weekend because it was such a pain in the ass.
It was a huge pain in the ass. Yeah.
So we were going, and that happened exactly the same way that you just said, except we went up to the Ritchie's house. Dad wrapped it up with a towel, and then Mum made him still take us out in the boat. And we spent the day out, and then we had to go in and he got it sewn up.
You know what? It was actually worse than that, because we had taken the boat out because we hadn't had it out in a long time, and he lost his finger taking it. We took it out, warmed it up, because that afternoon the entire youth group was coming to our house, and Dad was taking them out on boat rides. So yes. He went to the hospital, had his finger sewn together, and had this huge mitt of gauze over his whole hand, and had to put the boat back in the water and take all the youth group kids out for boat rides.
Yeah, and it wasn't and also it wasn't an easy task because the youth group came to our house. We went down to the beach, and then Dad and the other deacons had to maneuver their boats up the pebbly and heavily bouldered beach at our house and load them on one by one. And Dad would give, oh my gosh, that was the worst.
Yeah.
We're living in dark times, but gosh, they've been darker.
Well, the pancreatic cancer journey was pretty dark. I mean, after that, everything else just feels like it was inevitable. Don't you feel that way?
Well, you know what? It was the beginning. It feels like. Now, I know that this is not right. So I'm saying this as a joke. But, the death of our father kind of put something into motion that has now become a little bit out of control. Dad died, then everything kind of started to fall apart from there.
Yeah, I gained 40 pounds.
What happened? What was the fucking fires?
That's floods.
What happened. That came next.
Yeah, the Australian fires. Then every property that Dad had ever owned or that Mum had inherited flooded, all on the same day.
Within weeks of Dad dying.
I remember getting a call from work, and Mum said, "My basement is flooding. It's really flooding. There's 3 feet of water in the basement." I said, "I'll be there in 1 second." And then I get a call from Brian, our cousin, and he said, the basement in Shediac's really flooding. I'm not sure I can get control of this.
What the fuck?
I don't know what to do. And then Mum called and said, "Jan just called. Pugwash is flooding."
But you know what? This is sounds even more ridiculous to people who don't sort of believe in God, but this was all happening. So my entire country was on fire. People, thousands
all the koala
of
bears
people.
Were getting barbecued.
Everything's decimated. And meanwhile, I'm in this little island of being okay. And then, apart from the houses flooding, you guys were pretty okay as well.
Yeah,
we didn't lose any huge properties or anything like that. And then coronavirus hits after that, and the entire world is dying of this weird disease. And Queensland, where I live, and New Brunswick, where you guys live, have got super low numbers, and none of us have gotten it.
I won't count our chickens till they hatch on that one, but yeah.
Yet.
So far.
Well, Alice
so far,
does
you're
keep
right.
reminding me of the power of yet, Dad. Don't forget the power of yet. I'm like, I haven't got fucking corona yet.
It's true. And now there's a race war. And we're just kind of sitting it out. I don't want to go outside.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. They wanted to do rallies here, that like Black Lives Matter rallies, but the government has put an injunction on them because
of the pandemic.
of the pandemic, which I think is a very smart move on behalf of the government, but it's
Yeah.
not a great thing for.
Well,
the
you
people
need
who
to
are-
let people people need they should always be free to protest. Even if you're saying something that we disagree with, you should obviously be free to say it. We don't disagree with that one, but
Yeah.
but during a pandemic, I mean, people are going to get fucking sick. I hate to say it, but you look at like today. So they canceled Parliament in Canada. The whole government has just run out of Trudeau's cottage. He's the dictator. He doesn't answer to anybody, no questioning,
Yeah.
and because he says that it's because of safety, but then there's a photo op to go out and join a protest,
Yeah.
and he's out there first thing. He doesn't care. Again, we're going to erase all the first part of this, but what we're saying is that don't let politicians co-opt your movement because they don't care. They're just improving their brand. They're increasing their brand at your expense.
I mean, Donald Trump, it was cringeworthy. He was
He
talking
was
about
kind of
job
throwing
numbers.
gasoline on the fire a little bit.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
he's
that
always
was a couple days ago.
He always gets into the fray. I wasn't surprised. I just think it's a little bit crazy. I don't think they should be tearing down monuments in Washington. I mean, I understand that
No,
we come from
I
different
think-
places, but that your country is important and it's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
And they have to protect it. But when the space launch happened, Mike Pence gave a speech first. Oh, good, Jack. Okay, you get out of here. Don't take it apart, honey. Sorry, Dan. We're in the middle of this, darling. I love you. I'll see you in the morning. Okay. Sorry. We're just.
How dare you? How dare you father a child?
Oh, what did you just unplug? Okay.
What
head
did
up.
you just
Bye.
unplug? My oxygen.
My life support. Yeah, unplugged. He'll unplug my life support to charge some kind of device. I can see my future.
Oh my gosh,
Let's
Mom
see
said
how it
that he
ends.
spent $3,000 on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my fuck. Oh god, we haven't talked about that?
No.
Yeah. So what was the last thing I was thinking? Oh, Mike Pence. I'll tell you about the Grand Theft Auto next. When I never thought a whole lot about Mike Pence, because he's just lives in the shadow as far as we can. We're not in your country. We're not in America. Most of our listeners are American, I think. But
But Lisa, our listener.
most of our listener is American. But when they launched that rocket, Mike Pence gave a speech, and it was a fucking beautiful speech. It was really good. He got up and he said, these are troubled times for America. We have to strive to make things better. This is a signal of hope. This is to remind us of what we can accomplish when we work together. It was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this guy can talk. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'd be a swing voter. But,
Yeah.
this guy can really talk. I really liked it, what he said. And I was like, man, good thing they didn't bring Donald Trump. It was just, and I don't hate Donald Trump. He is who he is. He's a celebrity narcissist, and he's now the president of the United States.
Yeah,
But then he gets
Some of
up
the
there,
things
and it's,
that he's-
if you start looting, we're going to start shooting. It's just fanning the flames. And
but it's the things that he says are just so jaw-droppingly bad.
yeah, it's all about him. Everything's about him. It's all about
and
what a
he was
great
talking
job
about
he's doing.
Job figures. Now,
No. Okay, this did get
employment
misreported.
rates.
I actually watched I did watch the thing. He was talking about two separate things. So he said, when he talked about the country coming together, how progress was going to be made, and that George Floyd would be proud of what what the country was doing. Then he talked about the job figures, but the news reported it as Trump says George Floyd would be
Yes,
proud of his
because I
job
was
figures.
Yeah, because I was like, in my mind, he was like, employment rates are at the high times.
That's really good.
We're
That sounds
doing
really
the
like him.
best- We're doing the best jobs in the world, and You know, I think George Floyd would be looking down and be really proud about what we.
Be really proud.
It's like, oh my God,
day for America. He does go rambling off script.
Oh, like, oh my
It's
God, when he
so
was like,
strange.
you know, like insulin's really important. Should I be on insulin? Apparently, it's doing great things. I heard great things about insulin. We've got the best insulin in the world. Should I be on insulin? Like, what the fuck? And everyone just is looking up like, huh, what?
I know.
What?
The thing
you
is,
look like you should be on insulin. Even though we can't say he looks like a diabetic because it's not PC.
yeah, the thing is, he's always just rambled, and it's like the stream of consciousness kind of speech.
But should I be on insulin?
And it doesn't make sense, right? But when you have a media that's always looking for something to be outraged about, he's a constant supply of it because he says outrageous bullshit that's just
he's
completely nonsensical.
You know, he doesn't even write his own tweets.
Oh no, he has to because there are spelling mistakes in them and stuff.
No, he says, make a tweet about this. Say this on Twitter. He doesn't write his own tweets. He doesn't know. I don't think he knows how to read.
Well, no, I'll tell you, he's not stupid about the economy. He's not wrong about everything. That's one thing.
Well, I mean,
the job numbers until the pandemic were pretty fucking awesome. I will say their economy was roaring and giving hope
Trump
to people,
Incorporated.
Right? Well, no, but who cares? You know, you get all the Antifa people going, "Oh yeah, that's just the rich getting richer." No, it means a lot of people were employed. Everybody had a job. If you wanted one, you could get one. That's a foreign concept to us, right? In Canada, I don't know what it's like in Australia, but we're running.
What's that?
You know, at a good time, we're at 10% unemployment, and that's 10% of the people who want jobs who can't get them. I mean, it's really like 70% unemployment because so many people
it's like
don't
the
want
worst
a job.
it's ever been. 10% is like where this is like.
No, I mean 10% is good for us. And yeah,
oh yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, no, not here. Like that.
But really in the States, they were less than 3%. I mean, it was. You couldn't. You know, if I lost my job, I could just go get another job. Can't imagine that.
But
I can't imagine not being beholden to the people who hire you.
People with jobs are still living in poverty though, because their minimum wage is like $2.50.
That's
if you go,
true. That is their minimum wages. It just depends on what kind of job you have. But like waiters, if you're a waiter, that you're still going to be classified as having a job, but you're getting $2 an hour plus tips, and but the tips are usually, at a decent restaurant, the tips are pretty good.
They're not guaranteed though. You're not going to be guaranteed a tip.
No, but when you sell cars, you're not guaranteed any income. Unless you sell a car, you get the commission.
Well, yeah, but does that would also be considered a job?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So you could have,
but they make
car
money.
Salesmen that are also living in poverty.
When I was a resident, they were advertising for jobs at, I think it was Mexicali Rosas, and I realized pretty quickly that they were making a fuckload more money than I was.
Well, I mean. I think it depends.
They were averaging like $35 an hour, including their tips, and I was making.
But that's
$6.
on like a busy night. That's like good times. Like right now, could you imagine?
No, that's the average. Well, you run 3 tables.
Employed.
You run 3 tables, and each bill is $80.
I
and you
love
get
how the two
20%.
doctors are talking about how much better off waiters have it than us.
No, they don't. But when you're a resident, they do. Being a resident sucks. Don't, for Christ's sake, don't go into medicine. Not now.
I had the worst. I'm not going to get into it, but I had the worst week of my. Well, not my life. It felt very similar to when Dad died. I was in shock for a very long time, and I begged Alice. I was like, Alice, please do not go into vet. It is a horrible life. It is the absolute fucking worst life. So. I hear you when you're saying to Jack, don't go into medicine. It's the fucking worst.
Well, geez, I mean, like, okay, as an example, I'm up all night doing stuff for people who fucking hate me, and then if you make the slightest slip up, it's a disaster. And then, and you were broke until you were 33, right? Because you have no fucking money and you're paying tuition. And living in shitty apartments and getting bed bugs. I just, I know people have to live that.
Bugs. What the fuck, Jake?
I know lots of people are living that. I sound extremely privileged saying that.
Well, we are extremely privileged, though.
Well, we fucking work for it, though, too. I will say, we were privileged because we had parents who taught us to work our asses off.
But we had parents that were there and that were present in our lives, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real privilege.
Super hard worker, and Mom was consistently supportive of every little venture that we did.
Well, and they kicked the shit out of you if you didn't try.
Yeah, and all of my animals were because Mom said I had to read a Garfield book.
That's right, you had to read for pets. But it's a tough life. Medicine is hard, and then everybody bitches at you about how much money you make, and I just want to fucking say, look, I don't have a pension. I don't have any fucking health insurance. If I get appendicitis, I'm broke. I'm one botched appendix surgery away from bankruptcy at any given time.
Oh my gosh, that bird is back.
Oh, weird.
You can't hear it, but it's staring at me. It's got 3 fucking eyes. No.
If it says nevermore, then
yeah, that's right.
The next level.
Fuck. Okay.
What was Lisa? Hey, you got to tell me what Lisa was writing because I can't read the email. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I will. I'm actually going to cover Lisa's story. I want to do it justice this time because she is our biggest supporter. So, we'll
do a separate podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to actually make it into its own little story. But I was on my news source TikTok, and this guy, true story, this guy was living alone in an apartment, and he woke up to a Post-it note on his fridge, and it was just like a grocery list, basically, like go to Costco, get some batteries, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I don't remember making this list. Like I was up late last night. Maybe I did it when I was asleep. Who knows? So he crumples it up and throws it away. The next day he wakes up to 2 more and they're just blank, but they're on the fridge. And he was like, what the fuck is going on? Someone's like creeping around my house. This is fucking weird. And he took them down, he crumpled them, he put another lock on the door. And he woke up the next day or like a week later or whatever. But he woke up the next day and there were Post-it notes everywhere. And they were all blank except one said, the landlord will not give me access to the apartment. And he was like, whoa, like this is fucked. Now, naturally I would be like, I'm calling the cops. Clearly this guy was a millennial. Because he was like, I'm going to go and ask Reddit. Like, what's with the Post-its? Anyway.
Does anyone else have this Post-it problem?
Yeah, so people were like, dude, that's creepy as shit, blah, 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 blah. And then one poster said, mate, you've got to get a carbon monoxide monitor for your apartment. It sounds like you are like hallucinating and potentially...
And putting the notes up yourself.
Putting the notes up and then just forgetting it because you're depriving your brain of oxygen.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got it. That's what it fucking was. He was having fucking hallucinations and doing this in like a subconscious way. Or maybe he was doing it when he was completely awake, but because of the lack of oxygen to his brain, he wasn't retaining that memory. Ooh. And I was like, fuck. Like, how many? Like, holy shit. So I'm going to go today and get me a carbon monoxide monitor.
I'm very forgetful as well. I'm probably getting into early dementia. But Mom, like, I can't remember stuff that I did earlier today. I don't know if that's part of dementia or if I'm just fucking tired. I don't know. But it's been getting worse and worse. And I've had full conversations with Mom and not remembered anything about them.
You're probably pretty sleep deprived though too, right?
I don't know. I think I'm just...
You know what's really bizarre, stupid. And I think maybe it's a genetic thing and maybe you have this too, and that's why, we've been quasi successful in terms of our education, but I remember everything. I could tell you word for word a conversation that I had with somebody a year ago. Like,
yeah, I used to be able to do that for sure. I had memory, like I could remember notes.
I can
medical
picture
school,
the
and
notes.
I can still picture them.
I have like this, and it's great for remembering shit. Like, okay, where did I put that? Okay, it's here. But it's awful when you're trying to go to sleep, and you're like, and your brain's like, "Hey, remember all of this bad things?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Mine has. It's very frustrating. I can see why Alzheimer's patients freak out, because I'm losing that. Like, I used to, there was nothing I couldn't remember, and I would study like constantly. But I think it just trains your brain to remember everything. If you studied that hard, you just remember everything.
Maybe.
Because it wasn't like that in high school, but in college for sure, I can remember.
This could be conversations that I had when we were in the old cottage, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe you should get a carbon monoxide monitor and put it next to your pellet stove.
Yeah. Actually, there is a gas smell in my house sometimes. I wonder.
I think that's just you. It's very
smells a bit like methane. Yeah.
Yeah. It smells like rotting fish.
We're just talking. I was going to tell you about John Jones and the Nutty Putty Cave in Utah, if you're interested.
Oh, yeah. This is fucked.
So I have been, I don't know, I get into these loops. Okay, I collect things. That's one thing that happens. I collected guitar picks for a while.
Yeah, I think maybe we're autistic.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's any maybe about it.
Well, I don't know. I know that I'm definitely depressed.
Yeah, but there's... Hey, did you buy Grantrepreneurs? Oh, you can't get it. I should just send it to you. I can't get it. It'll make you laugh.
Well, I've got the original copy that you sent me a few years back.
Oh, it's probably quite a bit improved from that. I don't know.
Oh, well, I could only hope so.
But part of it is the character coming to realize he has Asperger's disease, and that was written entirely because I'm pretty
spoiler
sure
alert.
Asperger's.
And the sudden decline from 50th on the humor list to 2000. Oh, fuck.
2000. Yeah, briefly, I was at number, what was it, 11? I think I didn't make it to number 11 on the humor list. But you know what? I think it's just because I put it out on like Facebook and Twitter and whatever. Yeah. And people I know bought it. And people don't read anymore. So, you know, I sold maybe 100 copies of a book and it puts you at number 11 on the humor list. But really, you know, number 1 sells 50,000 copies a day and number 2 sells 3 copies a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I've been getting what I was getting to. What I was getting at. What's the saying?
Oh, can I just say one more thing? If you have not already, I want everyone, after they finish listening to this podcast, if you're listening on Spotify, even easier, just go to the search and search for Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Man, it's a good band. Have you listened to any of their music?
No, never heard of them until just now.
Oh, it's so fucking good. So my favorite song is First Class, and then Devil Like Me is also very good. And then there's a new one. It's called Free Fall. I can't remember. It's brand new, and I just listened to it for the first time yesterday. Huh. It's called Free Falling, is what the name it's called. It's called Free Falling. So yeah, everyone should go and look that up because it is so fucking good. They're totally underrated. They've got like 100,000 followers on Instagram and stuff, but such a good band.
Was there
anyway
a Saturday Night Live skit where a guy called himself, like he started a business called the Sofa King?
Yes.
And it's like, it's not just great, it's so fucking great.
So fucking great. So fucking great.
Man, it's too bad we have to remove so much out of this podcast because this one's fun. It's too bad there's so much social unrest. We the problem is we're in no place to comment on it. And
yeah,
again,
but I feel like I want to because I want people to feel supported, but I have no idea how to support them.
well, and the other thing is we do not want to increase our own brand at the expense of other people's important message, which we can't talk about.
No, that's not my agenda. I mean, we don't have a brand. So,
Well, everybody has a brand in a sense, a social media brand. You know, all those people posting Blackout Tuesday. That doesn't fucking help anything. It doesn't help anything but yourself.
well,
Anyway.
no, it helped. It helped me. It brought what is it?
There was
It
less to
brought it
read
to
on
my
your feed.
attention.
Oh,
It brought
you
it to
hadn't,
my-
I suppose. You're not in the news. But it brings it to your attention. But unless you're donating
Oh, was
to
it
the
in the
NAACP.
news? Was it a news thing that was like Blackout
Oh, yeah,
Tuesday?
maybe it wasn't on TikTok. Sorry, I forgot your news source.
Well, I posted on TikTok, so I posted that.
Did you see
I
the
Have a
people
Dream
on
speech.
TikTok? Okay, I'll give you some more examples of things that don't help move the conversation forward. They don't help policy change. They don't help anything. TikTok, the trend of smearing your own feces all over yourself.
Oh,
See
what?
any of that?
That's not a TikTok trend.
That is a TikTok
I mean,
thing.
you may be
No.
liking the algorithm may be very different for you, Jake.
No,
I'm like David Dobrik, best pranks.
I'm gonna read you a little news article.
There's one where people put like chocolate pudding on their hand and then ask for a roll of toilet paper. And then when someone reaches in to give them the toilet paper, they put the chocolate pudding on that other person's hand. And they're like, thank you. And they're like, ah! But
I'm just gonna read you this from Reddit.
And if goodness help me, if Siri's listening and she starts putting shit smearing on my algorithm on TikTok, my night is ruined.
Reddit thread. TikTok influencers are covering themselves in their own feces to support #Blackout Tuesday.
What the fuck? No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
It is not.
It
I
has
saw.
to be. That is not helping anybody except for that weird punk rock singer that. Fuck, how much did I just sound like someone from the fucking 20s there? But who was that? What was that guy's name?
Hey, you're the one with the intact memory. I can't remember. I'm just trying to think of it now. I remember his parents named him Jesus, but the brother couldn't say it. G.G. Allen.
G.G. Allen. That punk rock singer. Well, I had the vision of him in his casket rotting with shit on himself. So
That doesn't help. They're also shaving their heads to support Black Lives Matter. I said, I mean, okay, they're millennials. They're young. They're even millennials' kids. But I'm assuming they don't know what a skinhead is. I'm assuming they don't know what blackface is.
oh golly,
People are...
didn't even cross my mind. That's probably why, because I am, I'm an official millennial.
Yeah.
So
You are
I
officially
never
millennial.
would have even thought of shaving my head would be considered a skinhead.
I got to say, as a Gen X person who basically was raised reading Stephen King and The Stand, I've just been taking all this quite in stride, I think. I got very upset because I assumed this was the end of the world at first, and then I was like, you know what? I've prepared for the end of the world. I read The Stand. I can deal with this.
Well, I'm still reading The Stand on Audible, but I thought it was end times as well, and I was I was probably prepared physically, but I was not prepared spiritually.
And clearly, we still aren't.
No, exactly. That's why I'm so scared. But I'm like, surely he wouldn't draw it out this long.
No, I'll tell you what's coming next. Well, you think
The
of the
pineapples,
plagues, right?
No,
You think of the,
the
plagues.
durian fruit in my ass.
I think there's going to be a war between China and the U.S., and I think we're all going to get dragged into it. And I think Canada's going to pick China's side.
I don't think it will
Trudeau's
be
still
a
in.
physical war, though. I
And
think
there will
there's
be
just going to be a
nuclear
big
weapons.
old economical war.
That's been
and-
going on. That started when COVID started.
I know it's escalating, though.
It's escalating, but I think we have too many unstable. I think the Chinese leader is just as unstable as Trump. And I
No,
think
no
they're
one is
going-
as unstable as
He's-
Trump, though.
He released COVID onto the world. No, I mean he knew and then he silenced
Oh
the
wait,
WHO.
the Chinese leader,
Yeah.
or what do you call them now? The the leader of the country of China.
The Korean man from China. You know, that Korean-looking fella from China.
I don't know. Like, I
China.
don't know. I am suspicious that this has been a mistake, but the veterinary epidemiology side of me is like, well, bats carry a lot of fucked up diseases.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know where the disease came from. It frankly it probably came from a lab, but we don't know. I don't think we want to know if that's the case.
Oh,
But
gosh,
I
Could
think
you
it was an
even
accident
imagine?
if it got released, or it came from the wet market, like they said. But having said that, it was covered up for months. You know?
Oh yeah, oh no, yeah, I agree.
They
But
were
look,
threatening
the
people who tried to
expectation
let
of-
other people know that it was happening.
The expectation of a democratic leader is very different to the expectation of, what do you call that leadership in the land of China?
A dictatorship.
Is it a dictatorship?
Yeah.
Oh, like it really is, though?
Yeah, one party. There's no elections.
Right. Well, I mean, the expectation is that that's going to be fucked up.
We're in one. Canada's in one. There's no accountability anymore. There's only
Yeah,
one person. There's one.
I know,
He's not
but-
even a party. It's just one guy.
I know, but he will apologize if he does something wrong.
If he can build his brand by apologizing.
That's
So
right.
they're apologizing for all this shit that, I mean, none of us had anything to do with. Just fucking put policies in place that are better, dumbass. Anyway, drives me crazy. Anyway, what I was getting
Anyway,
at,
youth group.
what I was getting at was that I get really, like my brain gets into certain things.
Oh wait,
Give you the example of the guitar picks.
Can I interrupt you one more time?
Yeah.
Because every time you say that, it sparks another thing that I've gone on like a circle on. That sounds like a circle jerk, but it's not. It's just my brain. What? In a loop. That's what I was looking for. I've found military surplus stores in Australia.
Oh,
So,
outstanding.
I've officially become my father. Like, everyone else is going to have like all of their name brand dirt bike gear and stuff like that.
No, no.
And I was like, gee, that Fox racing bag is 60 liters or 55 liters and it's $172. But this Army surplus bag has got a lot more stuff and it's 60 liters and it's $12.95.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rock up. I'm going to look like someone in like on leave.
That is one thing I always worry about. As you know, I wear a lot of Army surplus stuff. And I'm always worried somebody's going to accuse me of fake valor for wearing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's just cheap.
I'm just cheap. It doesn't. Thankfully,
Sir,
it doesn't
that's
have like any
stolen valor.
patches or
No,
patches on it.
I'm not a hero. I'm just very cheap.
I like cheap foot cream. Like I
Very
got U.S. issued foot powder for being in the trenches.
Yeah, you don't want trench foot.
I don't want trench foot.
there's
It's
a
tried
great-
and tested.
There's an outstanding book by Mary Roach called Grunt. It's all about military procurement and the experiments that they have to do to, like, how they design their clothes, for example. You know, it sounds boring, but it's really, really good.
Right.
You should read it. Yeah. Grunt.
Okay.
By
I think Mom tried to read that to me in junior high.
no. This is new. This be
okay.
out in the last, 5-10 years.
Maybe Mom tried to read it to me.
She goes to. So I spent some time at the Walter Reed Memorial Hospital, not
no,
as a
I'm
doctor, but as
thinking
a
of-
learner.
I'm thinking of blueberry grunt, my favorite
Oh, yeah.
dessert.
No.
Sorry.
I went to Walter Reed Memorial during I guess it was in 2008. So there was still a war in the Middle East. And you'd see all these guys coming back injured. But one funny thing is I was with a group of radiologists. I don't know if I ever told you this story. So we were all,
We're fat.
we were
Yeah.
radiologists.
Fat guys. And girls. Oh, Lord.
And so the military...
Fat people. Humans.
The military team, basketball team, was there. They have like it was guys with like missing legs and stuff, but they had the prostheses. And we shared the gym with them. And these guys were fucking like real life heroes. But they were also, other than missing a limb, super, super athletic. And so they said, hey, you guys want to play? You want to play 5-on-5 or 4-on-4 or whatever we had? Yeah, sure. The end score was 52-0 after 15 minutes. I was wearing running sneakers and all the skin fell off the bottom of my feet. They were...
It's like a peel.
I have never been so entirely dominated at anything I've done in my life other than that game. It was insane.
I want to do paintball.
Yeah, it hurts though.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like I need to feel something.
Just want to feel the pain, man. Shoot me in the lip.
I don't think I could cut myself, but I really think that I could take a few shots with a paintball gun.
I mean, we're quite well padded, to be honest. It's probably not going to
No, I reckon I'd welt up good, though.
I watched the Mythbusters where Carrie keeps trying to catch the paintball.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing the myth of the guy who catches bullets in his teeth. And it's going pretty fast. It's going 300 feet per second. It would probably hurt quite a bit. But
I watch David Dobrik a lot, and he shoots people with paintball. And it leaves a welt so much that it breaks all the capillaries on the skin, so it bleeds a little bit too, which is kind of gross.
Oh, man.
But I feel like I would just wear a lot of armor.
Just wear a sweater with some shirts under it.
Yeah. But I feel like it would be a good way to get some aggression out. And also I feel like I'd probably be really good at it, although I'm a very large target. So
well,
perhaps not.
I mean, you were here for Jack's birthday when we did laser tag.
I've won every time.
You were like storming through there shooting all the 6-year-olds, like doing barrel rolls.
Best day of my fucking life.
It was, you got to admit, you had a great time.
I did. It was fucking great.
The next time you're home, you and I will go do laser tag.
Do you remember? Oh my gosh, we've gone into a member berries loop. But our cousins owned a paintball field.
Yeah, Top Gun paintball.
There was at Market Square. There was like this convention, and
it was like a small business convention.
Yeah, they set up a 10-pace draw and shoot in the coat check area. So people were just lining up to go and literally stand like 5 feet from each other and shoot each other with a paintball. Oh, fuck.
That was... I'll tell you what. This is how fucked up and existential our childhood was. We had to work the desk. Do you remember there were like constant injuries? Constant. And we worked the desk at that. And then at the same time, we adopted baby quails from the same convention.
Oh my gosh.
We went home with quails.
Yes. I do remember those quails are still alive, probably already been shot by someone.
Yep. One of them was shot with a BB gun in our backyard by mistake.
By you? Oh, by mistake. By mistake.
I didn't know it was a quail. I just took a shot at this bird.
I thought it was a squirrel. I thought it was the neighbor's cat. Sorry, I killed your quail.
I cried. I had it was the last.
Well, one of them drowned. I had a cap. It was like a lid from a jam jar that I used to give them like one with seed and one with water. And one of them fucking drowned in the 3 millimeters of water.
I think it committed suicide. I mean, why did they give children quails? What were they thinking? It's not like our parents were there to say, "Oh, that's okay." And then we were like, "Well, we've got a hamster cage. This will work, right?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, mate, I'm just I'm working the paintball draw over there, and I was just wondering if I could have 5 quail.
We're helping
For
children
one
shoot
shot.
one another with paintballs. Can we have a couple quail to go home?
It was $5 for one shot.
Yeah, he could turn a buck.
Who? Who? What the fuck?
And then we went over
In a-
to his house
in
and
a-
he had a
in a
shooting
coat
card. Do
closet.
you remember that?
Yes, that was. I never. I was too young. I never really got to shoot the guns. I mean, of course, I was able to shoot the guns with Dad when I was 3, like 22s and stuff, but never like paintball.
Man, weirdly.
Do you know what
we were
else?
just talking
Holy
about
shit.
that course in Washington
went to-
and those textbooks. I just bumped my leg on something and I looked down. It was my AFIP textbooks. Anyway, go ahead.
We went to. Speaking of the military, we went to this open military convention thing at the Gagetown Army Barracks, and they
Yeah.
let me shoot a fucking machine gun
Yeah, it was.
Do you
loaded
remember
with blanks,
that?
I think.
loaded with
Actually,
blanks.
you know
Who
what? It
gives a
couldn't have
shit?
been
It was-
loaded with. No, it wouldn't have been loaded with blanks because the machine gun wouldn't cycle. You shot a real machine gun.
I know. I fucking did because they had targets set up.
Yes, that's
And-
right. I remember shooting it.
Yeah, and I had like black stuff all up my arm from
The
whatever
gunpowder.
the gunpowder, whatever comes out of it. But it was like, it was a big fucking machine gun, and I was very little.
Yeah, it was like a 50 caliber. You had to
fun.
shoot it with the thumb triggers.
I don't remember. I just remember like the speed in which the bullets came out.
Man,
and
the 80s were so amazing. Do you remember going to King's Landing and having a turkey shoot? Where you had to shoot a musket at a turkey
musket.
target in order
Yes!
to, and if you hit the target, you won a turkey?
Yes. What the fuck? Yeah, that.
That was amazing.
How are we? How
Why did
are
they
we
let
not,
kids
How are we not
muskets?
fucking dead? Like,
I know.
and that was in the 80s. What were they doing in the 20s? How has the human race survived?
Here's a gun from 1850. We're going to put what we think is the right amount of black powder in it,
Gunpowder.
and then stuff a 50 caliber ball down.
Where do you get black powder
And
these
then
days? Oh, I made it myself.
Hand it to this 4-year-old to shoot a turkey target.
With a lead bullet, probably. Like it was
Yeah, it was a lead ball.
like, oh,
And
my
now the
fingers
turkey
taste so
target's at a
sweet after
berm, in fairness. There's a berm behind it, but the berm wasn't very high. If you shot over it, you would definitely hit somebody in one of the houses behind it.
Yes. Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
it is kind of amazing. I really just don't understand.
Now, I've taken jack shooting. I don't know if you knew that.
Well,
He
yeah,
shot a
but that's-
22 and a 410 shotgun.
That's probably not the. I mean, we did it when we were young.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's. Like
That was
the
my thought,
example
was
to
that
live off.
we may never get to do this again because the laws keep changing. So I'd like to make sure I take them out and like at least introduce them to basic gun safety and the joy of shooting pop cans.
Yeah, so
he's
pop
into it.
cans are fun to shoot. He uses his airsoft guns to shoot pop cans, though.
Oh my God, our backyard is more airsoft BBs than grass.
Yeah, I mean the bird population is probably loving that.
Well, I think it's like they eat rocks for their gizzards anyway, so they just have some
So
plastic.
why not? Why
airsoft.
not some very, very polished, non-abrasive whatsoever plastic beads?
That'll just stretch out their gizzard.
They should make those out of cellulose, actually.
They do
Instead of
they
plastic.
Do. Yeah, they have biodegradable ones, but it takes like a year and a half for them to biodegrade. Anyway, so I get into my collections.
Yeah, so you're circle jerking now. Yeah, go
Yeah,
on.
and I get into my hobbies. One thing that I've really gotten into, watching videos about mountaineering. I don't know. I find it so
Oh.
inspiring. I got
Is it
really
from
into
that
Everest for a
solo-
while, then K2.
Do you have
And then-
Disney Plus?
No, I don't. Oh yeah, I do have Disney Plus, but I don't watch it.
There's a Disney owns National Geographic now, so there's like this free solo, and it's this guy who does
Oh, who climbed El Capitan?
El Capitan without any ropes.
Yeah, that was a crazy accomplishment. So I watched that. I just watched it on YouTube, actually. But also, I've been watching all the mountaineering disasters.
Oh, yeah.
I have this thing in my head. This is probably never going to happen. I have this thing in my head that if I got in really incredible shape, I might start climbing and then work my way towards doing one of the big mountains, like Denali or
It's
Kilimanjaro
just
or
it won't
something.
happen unless you get stuck on one of those mountains from
From a
skiing
plane crash.
incident or something. Yes.
I have so much vertigo and I have such a fear of heights, but I would love to do. Well, at first I thought I would love to do Everest because it's not a super technical mountain. It just, but
Oh
then
yeah,
I
it's a
started.
piece of fucking cake, mate. Everyone's done Everest.
No. But if you train for about 4 or 5 years, you probably can do it. And I thought I might be able to actually do that, wear the oxygen and stuff. But having said that, I watched another special about, well, first of all the disasters, all the Everest disasters that have happened. And the chances of me making it back down are pretty low. But also the fact that, think about how many people do it, and there are no bathrooms. And you have to do 4 camps. There are 4 camps on the way up, right? To acclimatize, you go base camp, which is like the big one at the base of the mountain, to camp 1, then back to base camp, then up to 1, then 2, then back to base camp, then 1, 2, 3, back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after 4, you summit, and then come back down to 3, and then back down to home. But all those people are shitting in these camps, and some of the camps are just on little ledges, and there's like years and years worth of accumulated shit. And on top of that, there's
More shit.
everybody's getting everybody gets sick because you're not bringing water, you're boiling the snow. Then the snow has never melted, so the shit has been there for since the 1950s.
And that's where coronavirus came from.
Yeah, and people are getting like gastro and stuff. And then the other thing that's happening, I mean, it would have been like Tenzing Norgay and what's his name, Edmund Hillary, when they went up. What a massive accomplishment! There was nobody to set their ropes for them; they had to figure it out themselves. But now it's kind of like something that rich tourists do, and
A day trip.
it's certainly not a day trip. I got to respect.
But you know
anybody
what
who's done
it would be for us though, because I'd be like, yeah, fuck this.
I'd go to the base camp.
Johnny,
though. Wouldn't you
Johnny
love to see it?
Helicopter would take us up to the summit. We'd have a
No,
photo
you can't.
op.
You can't helicopter to the summit. The air's too thin. So you got to climb it. If you ever want to do it,
There's a way.
It's
That's impossible
8,000
though,
meters.
because airplanes would fly over top of it. It's not like they're like, nope, sorry, crew, we're going to have to bypass the mountains.
Oh no! Airplanes can go over it. Helicopters can't go over it because helicopters.
You could skydive. You could skydive onto it then.
You might be able to. So one guy has base jumped off one of the peaks. You should watch the documentary about the guy who tried to ski down Everest. It is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen. He needed a parachute, and he fell while he was doing it. It's so scary to watch.
At Sugarloaf one year, I went down the wrong trail. I was pretty young then too, and I skied down and I hit all the moguls, and
Yep.
my buddy just kind of reflexively bounded down them like a spring, and then at the end there was like this big jump. I was so out of control. I was just screaming, and I went straight down. And I went up the jump, and I hit my pole on one of the chairlifts,
Yeah.
and then crashed down, and was like, wrong turn. That was not Tote Road.
Yep, I remember that. I think I saw you coming down from the chairlift.
Oh my
I remember
God.
just hearing you scream.
Someone's. It probably looked like someone's, like a fully dressed mannequin had been just kind of let
Like
go
in the
by
Super Dave
mistake.
Osborne show where like
Yes.
it switches to the mannequin wearing his clothes.
Yes. And you know what? It's only now that I have YouTubed Super Dave Osborne for my own children that I'm like, oh, it's a dummy. I didn't know at the time. I was like, he's amazing. How did he survive that? Well, we might have to save your thing for next time.
Well, we're probably going to cut out 30 minutes of us trying to seriously discuss Black Lives Matter, which we can't do. Do you want to hear about this guy, John Jones?
Go.
All right.
Putty.
So along with the Everest and the mountains and stuff, I've been researching a lot of caves, and this is one of the most horrific stories that I came across. It's about a medical student, John Edward Jones. He was from Utah. He loved spelunking with his family, And when he was a kid, they would, he and his dad and his brother Josh would go on all these caving expeditions. Now in Utah, there was this cave called the Nutty Putty Cave, and it's called that because the walls of the cave are this kind of clay, like this, looks like peanut butter, I guess. And
which you would think not a good idea to. It sounds like an unstable cave, more like
it's
vent.
It's a cave it's a vent basically. And I don't know, we were talking, did you ever do any of the Rockwood Park caves?
No, I didn't know that they existed. We did the one at the top of where we used to live, and I freaked out there. And I was like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah, did it get real tight? Because when I think of caves, I think of like big caves that you walk in, like in Tom Sawyer,
beach.
Like mines, basically. I think of mines.
Yeah, it got real tight. We had to go onto our stomachs.
Yeah,
and we were like scraping our way through, and I was thinking the whole time, how are we going to get out of here?
Because, so you need to watch some of these caving videos.
Yeah, I don't want
the
to.
Really
it freaks me out.
claustrophobic ones.
Yeah,
but I think by facing it, you become less claustrophobic. Anyway, the Nutty Putty Cave is super tight.
For example, what were you, how does this one end? Go for it.
Yeah, let me tell you this story. It's super tight. There's a passage in it called the birth canal that you have to squirm through, and you have to get through it by exhaling to collapse your chest, and then
by
wiggle
breaking
as
your
fast
clavicles.
as you can. Yeah, it's called dystocia. Anyway, they weren't familiar with the Nutty Putty Cave. They went there for the first time when he came home from medical school for Thanksgiving. And he'd caved as a kid, but now this is a guy who's 200 pounds. Like, I'm 240
and is
pounds,
this before
so I'm not going to be able
after Thanksgiving dinner?
Yeah, exactly. My fatness would save me from this guy's fate. He entered the Nutty Putty Cave around 8 p.m., and that was on November 24th. And it was him and his dad and his brother. And they kind of explored a bit together, and then they decided to go their own separate ways. And John went looking for the birth canal, the tight passage of the cave.
Yeah.
Somehow,
I'd never seen one before.
Well, no, listen, he's married and he has a little kid, so he's seen a birth canal.
He was looking for the G-spot.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of the ways into the birth canal.
My God. Fuck my fucking snort. Anyway,
on the top roof region. Anyway, he was crawling. He's crawling towards the birth canal, but he actually missed the passage for the birth canal.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Ended up in the wrong canal.
Oops, daisies.
And he
but
found
he kept
this
going anyway.
Yeah, exactly. He found this little tunnel that he thought was it. Poor John. This is doing a major disservice to his memory. He's a nice guy.
Well, I mean, it's very relatable.
Yeah. So he found this uncharted part of the cave. Like, nobody had ever tried to go through this super tight narrowing. And
yes. Continue.
He started wiggling his way down. And the narrowing got tighter and tighter. Fuck, man. Poor guy.
Yeah.
He ended up completely upside down, so head straight down in this really enclosed space, and he figured he thought he couldn't back up. So he kind of contorted himself into this position with his arms underneath him, like pinned to his side, but under his belly. And he thought there was a little cavern in front of him where if he could get into it, he could get turned around and then work his way back up. But so he exhaled all his breath, shoved forward with his feet, and realized that it wasn't a cavern that he was looking at. It was a second wall of this tight tunnel.
Oh, that sucks.
And he got completely wedged. So his brother Josh eventually found him stuck upside down, and all he could see were his shoes.
Could you imagine if that was me? I'd be like, Jake, what the fuck?
Well, even to get to this guy, so to get to him, you had to go through this extremely tight passage just to get to his shoes. So you can't pull him out because you've got nothing to pull against. You're wedged in there by the time you can see his shoes. The brother tried to pull on his calves to no avail. And when he did, John...
Is it avail or prevail?
Avail. Yeah, prevail is when you win, but avail is like progress. But when they did it, he actually slid even further down and got stuck worse than before. Both arms pinned under his chest and unable to move. Terrible. Unable to move at all. So he was completely stuck. They were both Mormons, so they started praying. Josh went and called for help.
Tried to find the hat.
But even once help came, John was still 400 feet into the cave, 100 feet below the surface of the ground. And
would it be hot or cold, I wonder?
I think it was really hot. It was really muggy. And so it was a tight, narrow passage to get to his feet. So even getting people or equipment down was almost impossible. And like the first rescue team sent this little small lady named Susie Matola. She got there at 12:30 a.m.
What year was this in?
2009.
They had, plumbers can put fucking videos down your toilet for like
but they could video
miles.
him. They knew where he was. They just couldn't get him out.
Couldn't they? Well, but I'm sure that I would have done a better job of this.
Well, they tried. She arrived. She started talking to him. She could only see his running shoes, essentially, but she could hear him from the cave. He said, "Hi, Susie. Thanks for coming. I really, really want to get out." Over the next 24 hours, there were 100 rescue personnel working to free him. But of course, he's stuck upside down. All the blood rushes to your head, and then and he's wedged. His heart's not getting any blood return. So they tried to set up a series of pulleys and ropes, anchoring them to the walls of the cave, in order to get traction on his legs.
Oh, so they did eventually get a rope around his legs, though.
Around his feet, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the rescuers says that I think the walls of the cave were a major issue, though, because it's that clay stuff. So even just getting like the pitons, the anchors to stick in it was really difficult.
Yeah, no good.
So they initially started getting him out, and then the pulley failed, and a bracket snapped and smashed one of the rescuers in the face. And at that point, they knew he was going to die, that there was no hope, because it took so long to set the thing up. I think the guy lost all his teeth when the piece hit him, too. It was really kind of a disaster. So after a while he fainted and went into cardiac arrest. They couldn't even retrieve his body, so they sealed over the cave.
They probably could now.
No, the cave's sealed over. They filled it with cement, the entrance, and there's a little monument to him at the head of the cave, at the mouth of the cave, I should say. But he's still in there.
Pair of bronzed sneakers.
Yeah. Scariest fucking thing I ever heard of. He's sealed in there. They couldn't even retrieve the fucking body.
That's gross. Well, look, I mean, moral of the story, don't go into the fucking cave alone, or if you're 200 pounds, it might just not be for you.
Yeah. Don't cave if you look like me.
Yeah. But that would be an awful way to go. I would just
down,
hope
wedged in a rock in a dark cave.
I probably wouldn't have put up much of a fight. I would have just tried to die. The thought of being stuck like that I hate it so much. Like, you know, if they tuck the covers too tight at the hotel, I panic. It's like it's a panic for me. So
I'm sure I would have a hard time not panicking. I don't know. I don't think I could get wedged that deeply because I'm so big. I assume I would get wedged where other normal sized people could easily go, so they would be able to rescue me.
Yeah, I would. Well,
Just a thought.
also, I mean, I would be like, ooh, nope.
Well, I
So,
remember
like-
reading, is it Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn where they get lost in the mine underground? Anyway, I remember reading that and having nightmares about being stuck underground.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, there's a lot of fresh air in caves. I didn't realize the air exchanged so naturally.
Well, I
But there
think
you go.
it's certainly like caves around beaches, definitely, because the tide is going to draw in air like a
Yeah.
syringe.
Yeah, but most caves actually, not mines necessarily, but caves do actually have natural air exchange. So it's very
There you
rare
go.
for people to die of carbon dioxide
Asphyxiation.
asphyxiation. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
except for this time.
Well, no, he basically died from being stuck upside down, I think.
Ugh. You know what? The other thing that freaks me out, I love roller coasters, but the thought of being stuck upside down on a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that National Lampoon's Vacation, the newest one. where He finally gets the one up on this bully, and he's like, no, we're going on a roller coaster. And like, okay, you go, last ride of the day. And it's like, wee! And it goes,
Sticks upside down.
like,
That's a very
feel my pulse in my
underappreciated movie.
eyes. It's like, fuck, that would be the worst also.
That was a great
But now
movie.
Disney World has got these gondolas that go over the water, but they're not air conditioned. I'd hate to get stuck in one of those as well in Florida in the summer. That would be hell on earth, I reckon.
They used to have gondolas way back in the day.
Yeah, but
at
they were
Disney.
over like land, and they didn't have a cage, so you could just jump out to your death. But these are fully enclosed, like with windows and shit.
Yeah, it'd
with
be a
just with
sweat
the little.
box.
Oh man, yeah, no thanks.
I mean,
I'll do it when I go.
I love skiing, but I am afraid of being stuck on a chairlift.
Well, yeah, but at least I would much rather freeze to death than to die of just being overheated.
You say that, but I've done a lot of Everest research and K2. Man, you got to look up these videos. They're fucking amazing. They can really suck you
But
in.
I know, but I've been cold, and I know it's awful.
Have you ever had
But-
frostbite? I can't remember. Jack's had it. Jack had it on his cheeks. I've had it
I've
on
had
my
it
fingers.
on my hand.
But I've never had my fingers turn black, but I've had that wood
well,
feeling
yeah,
off
no.
my fingertips before.
Well, that's only if you survive, though. Like, I'm talking about dying of the cold, not like surviving.
Well, you should watch these videos
Cold.
because they have a lot of people who, like, look up the 96 Everest disaster. One guy, so a part of the mountain's called the death zone, right? Everything essentially over 8,000 feet, or 8,000 meters, I guess, is considered the death zone because you can't live there without oxygen. You just, you have to get up and get back down as quickly as you can.
Sorry, I keep thinking about this story. How awful, and I was laughing at that, but it was really funny.
The birth canal, yeah. Anyway, this one dude in '96, they got stuck up there. There was a big storm. A lot of people died. He was left for dead, and he survived, I think, 3 days in the death zone. But he lost his nose. He lost all his fingers and
Yeah,
toes.
I know, but he survived.
But he describes it. He describes it really well of what it was like freezing to death, and it's just constant hallucinations, and then the feeling that you're extremely hot, like your body's on fire. So he undressed himself, assuming that he was burning up. That's called paradoxical undressing. Anyway, it doesn't sound super pleasant. I
thought that you
about
would just kind of
freezing
go to
death.
sleep. I'd
They
probably
do
try to
eventually
go to sleep. Yeah, well, I would aim for that. That would be my like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck outside in the cold. I could try
wouldn't
to
you
find
aim
my
to
way
survive?
back to the car,
Wouldn't you try to?
but
Like
I'm
if you were
just
stuck
going
on
to
a
go to sleep.
chairlift, I hope you don't just go to sleep and let yourself die. It's probably better to call for help.
Well, looks like this is the end. Good night, world.
It starts again 1 minute later. Oh,
Fuck. Damn it.
oh, they just asked. They
shit.
needed to slow down. Mom was getting off ahead of us.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Anyway. Well, that was
this has been a
long
joy.
episode. You're probably going to have to do some editing on this one.
quite a bit.
Look,
quite a
if we
bit.
said something that offends you, I'm sorry. That's just
Yeah,
the way it
I
is.
mean, we don't mean to. We're just stupid.
We are stupid, but we also believe in free speech. So there you have it.
Well, I mean, I believe in it, but I don't have the right to it, apparently.
Everybody should have the right to it.
All right. Well, take care, weirdos. Thanks again,
Yeah,
Lisa,
we'll do
for
Lisa's
being
story
a Patreon.
soon. Yeah, thanks, Lisa.
And yeah, don't worry about re-upping the next month. Like, it's totally fine.
But
we
we will
appreciate
try
it.
and come up with a new shirt design. I need a new shirt because I'm too fat for my old shirt.
Yeah, maybe I'll go black this time because the white ones were quite see-through. So apparently, Fruit of the Loom does not make the highest quality shirt.
No, I found I can't remember. I think they're called Faded Glory or something, but the shirts are really good. They're like faded colors. Yeah, they sell them at Surf and
Yeah, well-
Style. Pretty
Well,
sweet.
yeah. We won't be doing those ones probably, but well, I'll come up with something. I just
Yeah.
won't use the same company this time.
All right.
All right. Well, have fun. Thanks, weirdos.
Yeah.
Oh,
See you
shit.
later, Dan.
I'll fill in some time. Sorry.
Yeah, well, if anybody does want some merch, just hit us up, onefootinthegrave@gmail.com. We're on Facebook.
At onefootinthegravepodcast.weebly.com.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you later.